My wife said, "I want to start an open marriage. Do whatever you want." So I did exactly that. She thought I'd stay home, heartbroken, waiting while she went out to find herself. But when she came back and saw me with someone else, suddenly the open marriage wasn't such a spiritual journey anymore. Clara joined a women's empowerment group about a year and a half ago. At first, it was just self-help books and online workshops about letting go and setting boundaries. Then she met Evan, the life coach who ran the sessions. "Marriages fail because people refuse to evolve," she told me one night over dinner. Her phone kept buzzing beside her plate. She tilted the screen away every time I looked. Lately, she'd been getting home around 2 in the morning, smelling like a cologne I didn't recognize. Then came the conversation that changed everything. "I want to open our marriage," she said, holding my hands like it was some kind of emotional ceremony. "We should both be free to explore other connections." "You mean sleep with other people?" I asked. "It's not about sex, Ethan. It's about growth. That's what Evan says." "Right," I said quietly. "So you get the marriage, the house, the shared bank account, but also the freedom to date whoever you want." "You have the same freedom," she said. "Do whatever you want, Ethan." I could tell this wasn't a discussion. She wasn't asking for permission. She'd already made the decision. This was just her way of absolving herself before crossing a line. "All right," I said. "Go find yourself." She blinked, caught off guard that I didn't argue. That night, I called a divorce attorney, joined a gym, opened my own bank account, and redirected every paycheck to it. 2 months later, I was down 15 pounds. Clara spent most of her time working on herself, which meant being with Evan. Then one weekend, my friend Lucas invited me to a barbecue. That's where I met Mara, a friend of his wife's from out of town. She was warm, confident, funny in a way that didn't feel like she was trying. We talked for hours. She asked about my work, laughed at my dumb jokes, and actually listened. When she left, she handed me her number. At our first coffee, I was honest. "I'm still married," I said. "My wife wanted an open arrangement. We're just waiting for the legal part to finish." Mara tilted her head. "Is that what you wanted?" "Not even close," I said. "Our marriage ended the day she asked for permission to see other men." She smiled softly. "I appreciate the honesty." Over the next couple of months, we built something simple and real. Weekend walks, cooking together, quiet nights with my dog, Cooper. Clara had always called that kind of life boring. With Mara, it felt like peace. 4 months in, Clara noticed. "You're different," she said one night. "Lighter, happier. Are you seeing someone?" When I didn't answer, her voice sharpened. "You are, aren't you?" "That's not what this was supposed to be. Not what you decided it was supposed to be," I said. "Who is she?" "Why does it matter?" "Because I'm your wife. I deserve to know." I laughed. "You demanded the right to see other men. My choices are mine." She went quiet. Her eyes flicked back and forth, that calculating look I'd seen 1,000 times before. "I want to meet her," she said finally. "No," I said. "This doesn't work without transparency." I couldn't help laughing again. "Transparency? From the woman who comes home at 2 a.m. smelling like Evan's cologne?" She straightened. "If you're seeing someone seriously, I need to know who she is." "Why? Because we share a mortgage? Because you need control?" "Mara isn't part of your life, Clara. She's part of mine." Her expression froze. "Mara," she repeated. "That's her name." I didn't answer. It didn't matter anymore. She kept pushing. "What does she do? Where did you meet her?" I stood up. "I'm taking Cooper for a walk." "Ethan, don't just walk away from—" But I was already out the door. The October air was sharp, clean. Cooper trotted happily beside me, blissfully unaware of human chaos. My phone buzzed. A message from Mara. "How was your day?" I smiled. 3 simple words. No agenda, no manipulation, just care. "Can I call you?" she texted. "Always." She answered on the second ring. "Hey, you," she said. "Hey, you sound tired. Clara wants to meet you." A pause. Then her calm voice. "What do you want?" That was Mara, always asking what I wanted. 7 years of marriage, and Clara had never asked me that once. "I don't know," I admitted. "Part of me wants to keep you far away from this mess. The other part thinks maybe it's inevitable." "Ethan," she said softly, "I'm not scared of your wife. If you think it's right, I'll do it. But it has to be your choice, not hers." Cooper stopped to sniff a tree. I gave him time. "Doesn't this situation make you uncomfortable?" "It makes me uncomfortable seeing you unhappy," she said. "Everything else is just details. Most women would have walked away by now." But Mara wasn't most women, and I wasn't the same man anymore. When I got home, Clara was sitting on the couch, scrolling her phone, probably texting Evan. "Let's have dinner," I said. She looked up. "What?" "A dinner. You, me, Mara, and Evan. If you want transparency, let's do it right." Her expression shifted from confusion to suspicion to something that looked a lot like fear. "You're serious?" she asked. "Completely. Saturday night. I'll cook." "Ethan, I don't think—" "You asked for openness," I said. "This is it." She hesitated, biting her lip, that old sign she was calculating risk. "Fine," she said finally. That Saturday, the stage was set. Saturday came faster than I expected. I spent the morning cooking. Mushroom risotto, Caesar salad, apple tart. Focusing on the food helped quiet my mind. Stirring, chopping, tasting. It was therapy disguised as dinner prep. At 6 o'clock sharp, Mara arrived. She wore a navy blue dress, simple and elegant. Her brown hair fell loosely around her shoulders. In one hand, she carried a bottle of wine. In the other, a box of dog treats. "For Cooper," she said with a smile. I couldn't show up empty-handed. I couldn't help smiling back. "You look amazing, and you smell like garlic," she teased, in a good way. I kissed her softly before letting her in. Then I heard heels on the stairs. Clara appeared. Red dress, high heels, perfect makeup. She looked like she was walking into an awards show, not dinner at home. The comparison was brutal. Mara looked effortlessly graceful. Clara looked rehearsed. "You must be Mara," Clara said, extending her hand with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "And you must be Clara," Mara said politely. "Ethan's told me about you." "Oh, really? What has he told you?" "That you work in digital marketing," Mara replied smoothly. "That you're very dedicated to your career. Neutral. Perfectly neutral." "And what do you do?" Clara asked, clearly fishing. "I'm a veterinarian," Mara said. "I run a small clinic downtown." Clara's smile tightened. "Interesting." Her tone made it clear she found it anything but. Mara didn't flinch. "I've always loved animals. It's rewarding work." "It must be," Clara said, pausing. "Marketing's more fast-paced." "It sounds exhausting," Mara said, not unkindly. "Always chasing the next big thing." It wasn't an insult, but it wasn't a compliment either. The doorbell rang. Evan. I opened the door, and there he was. Tall, tan, with that perfectly practiced smile. His shirt was black silk, open 2 buttons too low. "Ethan," he said, extending his hand like we were old friends. I shook it once, firm and brief. "Evan." He stepped inside like he owned the place. Then, without hesitation, he kissed Clara on the lips, a territorial move if there ever was one. "And this must be the famous Mara," he said, turning to her. "Clara mentioned you were beautiful, but she undersold it." "Thanks," Mara said with a small, polite smile. "You're exactly what I pictured." He laughed, uncertain if it was a compliment. We sat down to eat. The risotto came out perfectly creamy. Even Clara, who usually picked at her food, went for seconds. "This is incredible," Evan said. "Who made it?" "Ethan," Clara answered. "You cook?" Evan asked, eyebrows raised. "That's unusual for a man." "Why?" Mara asked before I could. "Cooking is basic survival, not a gender role." He chuckled awkwardly. "Of course. I just meant it's refreshing to see a man comfortable with non-traditional tasks." "I don't see it as non-traditional," I said quietly. "I see it as caring for the people I love." Clara's fork froze halfway to her mouth. She said nothing, but I saw her processing that line. "The majority of men don't cook," she muttered finally. "Most men don't do a lot of things they should," I replied. "But that's not tonight's topic." Mara gently squeezed my hand under the table. Evan noticed. His fake smile faltered. "So, Mara," Evan said, changing tactics. "What's your opinion on open marriages?" "They can work," she said calmly, "for people who truly want them, but not everyone does." "And for you, would it work?" She tilted her head. "I wouldn't know. I've never been married." "But you're dating a married man," he said, smiling like he'd found her hypocrisy. "I'm dating a man who's divorcing," Mara said evenly. The table went silent. Clara's face went pale. "Divorcing?" she repeated, her voice cracking. "Ethan, what is she talking about?" I looked her straight in the eye. "The papers I signed 2 months ago, the ones waiting for your signature at the attorney's office." "I never agreed to a divorce," she said, voice trembling. "We agreed to an open marriage." "You agreed to an open marriage," I said. I agreed to give you what you wanted while preparing to leave. Her eyes filled with tears. That's manipulation. No, Clara. Manipulation is convincing someone they're not enough while sleeping with your life coach. Evan shifted in his chair, uncomfortable. Let's all take a breath, he said in his calm, rehearsed voice. Strong emotions cloud judgment. I turned to him. Save the therapy lines for your clients, Evan. Ethan, please, Clara whispered. You can't just decide something like this without your approval? I asked. You decided to open our marriage without mine. What's the difference? That was different, she snapped. In what way? She had no answer. Mara quietly set her fork down. I think it's time for me to go, she said gently. Dinner was wonderful, Clara. Truly enlightening. Evan didn't offer his hand as she stood. He just nodded stiffly. I walked her to the door. Behind us, Clara's voice was breaking, demanding explanations. Outside, Mara turned to me. Are you okay? Better than I've been in years.
Call me when it's over, she said softly. Then she kissed me and left. When I came back, Clara was crying on the couch. Evan sat beside her, looking like he wanted to be anywhere else. Why? She sobbed. Why are you doing this? Because I deserve to be happy, I said. And you taught me I wouldn't be with you. I still love you, she whispered. No, I said. You love the idea of having me. Evan stood up awkwardly. I think I should go. This feels like a private moment.
Clara turned on him. You're leaving? Now? He shrugged. You need space to process with Ethan. We'll talk tomorrow. And just like that, he was gone. Clara stared at the door, tears streaking her mascara. Something in her expression changed. The first hint of realizing she'd finally lost control. I sat across from her. The divorce papers are fair. 50-50 split. You can keep the house. I already found an apartment. I don't want a divorce, she said. That's not up to you anymore. Is it because of her? It's because of me, I said. Mara came after, but the decision came the night you told me to do whatever I wanted. Clara didn't speak. I gathered the plates and took them to the sink. The risotto had gone cold, but I packed it away anyway. It was too good to waste. When I came back, she was gone, upstairs behind a closed door. I turned off the lights, went to the guest room, and lay down with Cooper at my feet. My phone buzzed. A text from Mara. Thank you for letting me be part of your life tonight. Sleep well. For the first time in months, I did. 3 days passed after that dinner. Clara didn't sign the papers. She didn't talk to me either. She spent most of her time locked in the bedroom upstairs. I could hear her voice through the door, sometimes crying, sometimes shouting, always on the phone with Evan. On Thursday, my friend Lucas called. Can you come to my office? I need to show you something, he said. Lucas worked in private security. He had access to databases most people didn't even know existed. When I arrived, he was waiting with a thick folder on his desk. Sit down, he said. You're not gonna like this. I sat. What's going on? It's about your wife's boyfriend, he said. Evan Cross isn't who he says he is. He opened the folder. Photos, documents, even old newspaper clippings. His real name is Eric Dawson. Changed it about 8 years ago after a lawsuit in Florida. For what? I asked. Fraud, Lucas said. He used to run another so-called personal development group. Same setup as now, mostly married women. He convinced them to invest in his expansion projects. Then the money disappeared and so did he. I looked at the photos. Same man, just younger, shorter hair. The same fake smile. How many victims? I asked quietly. 7 documented. Probably more who never spoke up. Why isn't he in jail? He's smart, Lucas said. Never promises specific returns. Everything's framed as a donation to personal growth. Technically not illegal, just predatory. I closed the folder slowly. Why did you even look into this? Because my wife asked me to, Lucas said. She knows a few women from Clara's group. 2 of them mentioned Evan was asking for money for business expansion. My wife got suspicious. Did Clara give him money? No idea, he said. But if she hasn't, she will soon. That's his pattern. I nodded, staring at the folder. Can I keep this? It's yours, he said. Then he added, but Ethan, think about what you're going to do with it. What do you mean? I mean, you could just let things play out. The divorce is in motion. In a few months, you'll be free. Why complicate it? Because even if Clara betrayed me, I said quietly, she doesn't deserve to be conned. Lucas sighed. You're either a saint or an idiot, maybe both. That night, I had dinner with Mara at her apartment. I showed her the folder. She read through every page carefully. "This man is a predator," she said finally. "I know." "Are you going to tell Clara? I'm thinking about it." Mara set the folder down. "Can I be honest with you?" "Always." "I don't think you should," she said. "Why not?" "Because it's not your responsibility anymore. Clara made her choices. If you show her this, she'll probably accuse you of lying to separate her from him. You'll become the villain." I knew she was right. I knew Clara's first instinct would be denial. "So what do you suggest?" I asked. "Focus on your life. On us," she said gently. "Let Evan dig his own grave. People like him always do." "And if he drains her bank account before that happens?" Mara looked at me, her expression calm but firm. "That's not your burden anymore, Ethan." I studied her face. Steady, grounded, no judgment, just truth. "I can't just do nothing," I said finally. She sighed. "I know, that's what makes you you. But sometimes the best way to help someone is to let them face the consequences." That night, I barely slept. The folder sat on my nightstand, almost glowing in the dark. By morning, I'd made up my mind. I wasn't going to confront Clara directly, but I wasn't going to ignore it either. I called my attorney, Richard. "Hey," I said, "I need to speed up the divorce process." "Any particular reason?" he asked. "I want the property division finalized before my wife can move any funds to third parties." "You think she's being manipulated?" "I know she is," I said, "but I can't prove it yet." "I can file to expedite," Richard said, "but she still needs to sign." "I'll handle that," I said. When I got home that evening, Clara was in the kitchen, the first time I'd seen her downstairs in days. "We need to talk," she said. "All right." She sat down, eyes tired, makeup barely covering the dark circles beneath them. "Evan thinks we should try couples therapy," she said. "Clara, we're getting divorced." "It doesn't have to end like this," she said quickly. "We could fix things." "Evan thinks that?" I asked. "The man you're sleeping with wants us to save our marriage? He says he made a mistake, that he pushed me too far," she said. "He only wants what's best for me." I almost laughed. "Almost." "Clara," I asked carefully, "has Evan asked you for money?" Her expression changed immediately. "What?" "It's a simple question. Has he? That's none of your business." "So yes," I said. "It's an investment," she said defensively. "He's expanding his program to other cities. It's an amazing opportunity." "How much?" "I'm not—" "How much, Clara?" She looked away. 50,000. I felt the air leave my lungs. "Have you given it to him?" "Not yet. I just need to move some funds first." I stood, went to my briefcase and pulled out the folder. I set it in front of her. "What's this? Read it." She opened it, flipping through the pages. Her face changed as she went. Confusion, denial, then panic. "This is fake," she said. "It's not. His real name is Eric Dawson. He's done this before. Look at the dates, the victims. You can call them if you want." "I won't," she said. "Sandra Miller," I said quietly. "Lost 70,000. Her number's on the last page." Clara stared at the folder like it might bite her. "Why are you showing me this?" "Because even if I don't love you anymore, I don't want to watch you get destroyed." She was silent for a long time. Finally, she whispered, "I need to think." "Take all the time you want," I said. "Just don't give him that money." I left her at the table and went to the guest room. Cooper followed me, curling up at my feet. An hour later, I heard the front door open and close. Clara was gone. I called Mara and told her what happened. She reacted exactly like I expected, I said. Denial first. But I saw the doubt in her eyes. "She'll confront him," Mara said. "Be careful. That could be dangerous." "I know," I said. "But I can't protect her from herself anymore." Mara sighed softly on the other end. "You did the right thing, Ethan. Even if she can't see it yet. Do you really think so?" "I do. Now come over. I'll make you dinner." I grabbed my keys. Cooper watched from the window as I left. I didn't know what would happen next, whether Clara would believe me or run straight back to him, but at least I'd done my part. The rest was up to her. 2 days passed before I heard anything from Clara. Then, out of nowhere, I got a call from an unfamiliar number. "Ethan," a woman said, "this is Melissa. I'm part of Clara's group, the one Evan used to run. She's at my house right now. I think you should come." My stomach tightened. What happened? It's better if you see for yourself. She gave me her address. 20 minutes later, I was knocking on her door. Melissa opened it with an anxious look. She's in the guest room, she said quietly. She hasn't eaten since yesterday. What happened with Evan? I asked. Melissa hesitated. Clara confronted him with the documents you gave her. He denied everything. Said you forged it all to turn her against him. But Clara did something none of us ever had the courage to do. What's that? She called one of the women listed in the file, Sandra Miller. I froze. And they talked for 2 hours. Sandra confirmed every detail. Same pattern, same promises, even the same favorite restaurant. Clara was shattered. I exhaled slowly. Can I see her? Try, Melissa said, but be gentle. She's not herself. I walked down the hallway and knocked softly. Clara, it's me. Silence. Melissa called. I just want to make sure you're okay. After a few seconds, the door opened a few inches. Clara stood there, pale and hollow-eyed. Her hair was tangled, her makeup gone. She looked like someone who hadn't slept in days. You were right, she said hoarsely. I'm so sorry. I shook my head. Don't apologize. I was an idiot, she whispered. Sandra told me things he said to her, word for word. You're special. I've never met anyone like you. We're going to change the world together. It's like he had a script. He did, I said quietly. She sat down on the edge of the bed. I stayed by the door, giving her space. Do you know what hurts the most? She asked after a while. It's not the money. It's not even the cheating. It's realizing how easy it was for him to manipulate me. I thought I was getting stronger. I was just getting weaker. Clara, please let me finish, she said. For 18 months, I believed I was evolving, that I was becoming my true self. But every breakthrough, every revelation, it was him. His words, his control. Have you talked to the other women? I asked. She nodded. Melissa organized a meeting last night. There were 6 of us. Every single one had the same story. We all thought we were special. 2 had already given him money. Are they going to report him? They can't prove anything, she said. He never promised financial returns. Just contribution to the mission. It's legal fraud disguised as spirituality. I sat in a chair across from her. What are you going to do now? I don't know, she said. I can't go back to that group. I can't even look at myself in the mirror. But I can't pretend the last 18 months didn't happen either. They happened, I said softly. But you learned something. What did I learn? That you're human, I said. That you can be fooled, like anyone else. It doesn't make you weak. She gave a shaky laugh. Why are you being kind to me after everything I did? Because anger doesn't help anyone, I said. And I'm not better than you. I just saw what you couldn't. Clara wiped her eyes. Mara's lucky to have you. I didn't respond. Ethan, she said after a pause, I'm going to sign the divorce papers. You're sure? Yes, you were right. We ended a long time ago. I just didn't want to admit it. Take your time, I said. You don't have to rush. I'm not rushing, she said. I'm finally stopping. She stood, walked to the window, and stared out at the gray afternoon light. You know what Sandra told me before we hung up? What? She said it took her 3 years to recover, 3 years of therapy, rebuilding her trust, her self-esteem. She told me the first few months are the hardest. And what did you say? I asked. I told her I've wasted enough time on Evan. I'm not giving him 3 more years. For the first time in months, I saw a glimpse of the old Clara, the determined woman I fell in love with years ago, the one who built a career from scratch. That's the right attitude, I said. She turned to me, tears still in her eyes but steadier now. Thank you for showing me the truth. You didn't have to. I didn't do it for you, I said honestly. I did it because it was right. She nodded. That makes it mean more. My phone buzzed. A text from Mara. Everything okay? I typed back quickly. I'll explain later. Is that her? Clara asked. Yes. Do you love her? The question caught me off guard. It's too soon to talk about love, I said. But could you? Yes, I said quietly. I could. Clara nodded. Then don't lose her. Don't make the same mistake I did, thinking there's always time to appreciate what you have. I stood by the door. Do you need anything? No, she said softly. Melissa's taking care of me. If you change your mind about the papers, let me know. I won't, she said. Not this time. I left the room and found Melissa waiting in the living room. How is she? She asked. Better than I expected, I said. She'll need time, but she's strong. Melissa nodded. She told me something you should know. What's that? Evan knows you gave her those documents. He's furious. Told one of the women yesterday that you're going to pay for ruining his reputation. I took a deep breath. He said that? Word for word, she said. Be careful. I will. That night, I drove to Mara's clinic. She was closing up when I arrived. You look tense, she said. It's been a long day, I admitted. Over dinner, I told her everything. The meeting, Clara's breakdown, Evan's threat. Do you think he's dangerous? She asked. I don't know, I said. He's a manipulator, but when people like that lose control, they can get unpredictable. Do you want me to stay with you for a few days? She asked. I shook my head. No, I won't let him control how we live, Ethan, she said gently. Accepting help isn't weakness. I know, I said. But I also know what Evan is. He's a coward. His power comes from words, not actions. She reached across the table, took my hand. If anything changes, promise you'll call me. I promise. That night, I went home and lay in the guest room, Cooper curled up beside me. My phone buzzed again. A new email from Richard, my attorney. Ethan, Clara contacted my office. She's ready to sign the papers this week. Should I proceed? I typed back one word. Yes. It was almost over. 18 months of chaos were finally winding down. I should have felt relieved. And I did, but mixed with something else. Not sadness exactly. More like a quiet mourning for everything that could have been, but never was. I turned off the light. Cooper sighed in his sleep. Tomorrow would be a new day. 2 weeks later, Clara signed the divorce papers. We met at my lawyer's office. She arrived exactly on time, wearing a plain gray sweater and jeans. No red dress, no heavy makeup, just Clara. Quiet, tired, human again. Before signing, she looked at me. I'm not going to fight you for anything, she said. The 50-50 split is fair. Thank you, I said. And I want to apologize for everything I put you through. Richard, my attorney, cleared his throat. Would you like me to step out for a moment? No, I said. We can finish this. Clara nodded and began signing each page. Her handwriting was steady, not trembling. When she finished, she placed the pen down and exhaled. That's it? She asked quietly. That's it, I said. We walked out of the building together. The November sun was bright but cold. What are you going to do now? I asked. I found a small apartment near my job, she said. I'm moving next week. The group's still meeting, but without Evan. We turned it into a support circle instead of a growth seminar. That's good, I said. She smiled faintly. Ethan, can I ask something personal? Go ahead. Are you serious about Mara? Yes, I said. Very. Are you going to introduce her to your family? I already did. We had dinner with my parents last weekend. Clara gave a small laugh. Your mom always wanted you to end up with someone normal. She likes Mara, I said. My dad, too. Your dad never liked me, she said, half joking, half true. He just saw things I didn't want to see back then, I said. Clara nodded, looking out at the street. Take care of her, Ethan, and let her take care of you. I will, I said. We shook hands. No tears, no drama. Just two people closing a long, painful chapter. That night, I hosted a small dinner at home. The first since Clara moved out. Lucas and his wife came, along with Mara. We cooked together. Pasta, salad, garlic bread. The house felt different. Warmer, alive again. You look good, Lucas said, clinking his glass. Better than you've looked in months. I feel good, I said. The evening was easy. Laughter, stories, music playing low in the background. Cooper went from person to person, soaking up attention. When everyone left, Mara and I stayed on the couch, half-finished glasses of wine between us. You know what I noticed tonight? She said softly. What? It's the first time I've seen you completely relaxed. No tension in your shoulders, no checking your phone every 5 minutes. I smiled. It's the first time I've had nothing left hanging over me. The divorce is final. Clara's rebuilding her life. Evan's gone. For good, I hope. And us? She asked. What about us? What are we, Ethan? Her eyes were steady, brown and warm in the dim light. I took a breath. We're whatever we want to be. No more waiting, no more in between. That's not an answer, she said, smiling. You're right. I set my glass down. Mara, these past months with you have been the best I've had in years. Not because everything's easy, but because everything's real. The way you listen, the way you show up, it means more than you know. She raised an eyebrow. Are you asking me to be your girlfriend like we're teenagers again? Exactly, I said. She laughed. That low, genuine laugh I'd come to love. Then yes, she said. I'll be your girlfriend. I kissed her, slow, certain. When we pulled back, her expression changed, more serious now. There's something I need to tell you, she said. What is it? Evan came by my clinic yesterday. My entire body tensed. What? He didn't come inside, just stood outside watching. When I went out to confront him, he left. Why didn't you tell me right away? I didn't want to ruin the night, she said quietly, but I wanted you to know. Mara, this isn't a game. That man's unstable. I know, she said. That's why I installed security cameras today. And I called the police. What did they say? They can't do much until he does something concrete, but they filed a report. I stood up, pacing. I'm going to talk to him. No, she said firmly. That's exactly what he wants, to drag you into his chaos. I can't just sit here while he watches you. He's not watching me. He's testing boundaries. When he realizes he doesn't scare me, he'll move on. I stared at her. How can you be so calm? She smiled faintly. Because I've dealt with scared animals my whole life, and that's what he is. A scared animal who lost control of his territory. You're not a target, Mara. Exactly, she said, and he knows that. He'll growl, but he won't bite. I sat back down, shaking my head but smiling despite myself. You're amazing. I know, she said with a wink. Now stop worrying and pour me another glass of wine. That night, Mara stayed over. Really stayed in my room, not the guest room I'd been haunting for months. It should have felt strange, but it didn't. It felt like the most natural thing in the world. Cooper settled by the door as if standing guard. Mara curled up against me. Ethan, she whispered. Yeah? Thank you for this, for tonight, for letting things finally be peaceful. Thank you, I said, for being here. She smiled against my chest. Within minutes, she was asleep. For the first time in years, I wasn't haunted by what had been lost, only grateful for what I'd found. But somewhere in the city, Evan Dawson was still out there, and something told me his story wasn't over yet. A week later, Evan fell. Not because of me, not because of Clara, because of someone I'd never met. Rebecca, one of the women from the group who had given him money, had a brother who happened to be an attorney. He started digging, and what he found made everything unravel. That Tuesday morning, Lucas called me. Turn on Channel 7, he said. I grabbed the remote. The moment the screen lit up, I froze. There he was, Evan, or rather Eric Dawson, walking out of an office building in handcuffs, 2 federal agents beside him, cameras flashing, reporters shouting his name. The anchor's voice cut through the noise. Self-proclaimed life coach Eric Dawson has been arrested on charges of fraud spanning 4 states. Authorities say he convinced dozens of women to invest in non-existent programs, pocketing nearly $500,000. I couldn't look away. Lucas laughed bitterly on the phone. Guess karma finally caught up to him. How? I asked. Rebecca's brother found more victims. Arizona, Colorado, Nevada. Turns out one woman in Colorado recorded him promising financial returns. That was enough to make it criminal. How many victims total? 23 officially, he said, but probably more. I hung up and immediately called Clara. She answered on the first ring. You saw it too? Yeah, Melissa called me an hour ago, she said. Everyone's been crying relief, mostly. I don't even know what I feel. Angry maybe, but also free. You should be proud of yourself, I said. You got out before it was too late. There was silence on the line. Then she said quietly, if you hadn't shown me those papers, I would have given him the money. $50,000. I would have lost everything. But you didn't, I said. No, she said. I didn't. Her voice sounded different, clearer, grounded. Are you going to testify? I asked. The prosecutors said they have enough evidence without me, she said. But if they need me, I will. That's the right choice, I said. Yeah, she said softly. It finally feels like the nightmare's over. When we hung up, I felt something unexpected. Not joy, not vengeance. Just closure. That evening, Mara and I had dinner at her apartment. She made roast chicken with vegetables, simple and perfect. So, it's over? She asked. It's over, I said. He's done. She poured us both wine. How do you feel? Relieved, I said, but weird. Like when a storm finally passes and you can still hear the thunder in the distance. Mara smiled gently. That's normal. You've spent so long carrying chaos that quiet feels unfamiliar. Yeah, I said. I keep waiting for something to go wrong. Then stop, she said, reaching across the table to touch my hand. Sometimes things actually get better. Cooper looked up from under the table, tail wagging. Mara tossed him a piece of chicken. You're spoiling him, I said. I'm loving him, she said. There's a difference. After dinner, we walked through her neighborhood. The December air was cold, and houses were already glowing with Christmas lights. What are you doing for the holidays? She asked. I usually visit my parents, I said. What about you? I go to Tennessee, she said. My family still lives on a farm outside Knoxville. She stopped walking, smiling. Actually, I was thinking of doing something different this year. Like what? Bringing you with me, she said. I blinked. You're serious? Completely, she said. My mom already asked about you. My dad wants to meet the man who finally made me settle down. I couldn't help smiling. You've been talking about me to your family? All the time, she said. You're my favorite person. That simple sentence hit harder than I expected. Warm, grounding, real. I'd love to meet them, I said. Her smile widened. Good. I'll warn them that you're a terrible cook. Excuse me? She laughed. Okay, fine, you're decent. We walked another block, our breath visible in the cold air. She took my hand. For the first time in years, life felt steady. No hidden agendas, no manipulation, no waiting for the next explosion. A week before Christmas, I got a text from Clara. Can we meet for coffee? Just to talk. I hesitated. Mara noticed. Who's that? Clara, I said. She wants to meet. Are you going? I don't know. Should I? That depends, Mara said. Do you need closure? I thought about it for a moment. Maybe. Then go, she said simply. I'm not jealous of ghosts, so I went. We met at a small cafe near her new apartment. She was already there, sitting by the window, a paper bag beside her. Thanks for coming, she said when I sat down. What's up? Nothing dramatic, she said quickly. I just wanted to give you this. She pushed the bag toward me. Inside was a small box. What's this? Open it. Inside was my grandfather's watch, the one I'd thought I'd lost when I moved out. I found it while packing, she said. I know how much it means to you. I smiled. Thank you. I thought it was gone. There's more, she said, pulling out an envelope. Inside were photos. Our wedding, vacations, random snapshots from better years. I didn't know if you wanted these, she said. If not, you can throw them away. I looked at the pictures. We were smiling in everyone, two people who thought love alone could hold everything together. Keep them, I said. I'm done looking backward. Clara nodded slowly. I wanted to tell you something else, she said. I started therapy. Real therapy. With an actual psychologist. That's good, I said, genuinely. And I'm thinking about going back to school. I dropped out of my master's program when I met Evan. I think it's time to finish it. What were you studying? Organizational psychology, she said with a small smile. The irony isn't lost on me. I chuckled. You'll be great at it. How's Mara? She asked. She's good. We're going to Tennessee for Christmas. Clara nodded, a hint of genuine happiness in her eyes. I'm glad you found someone who fits. Thanks, I said. She hesitated, then asked, Do you know why I wanted to see you in person? You could have mailed the watch, I said. I needed to see you one last time, she said softly, to make sure it's really over. To say goodbye properly, I nodded. Then, goodbye, Clara. She smiled faintly. Goodbye, Ethan. I left the cafe holding my grandfather's watch. The sun was setting, the sky streaked with gold and gray. For the first time, I didn't feel angry or bitter or broken, just free. I called Mara as I walked to my car. How'd it go? She asked. She gave me my watch, I said, and said goodbye. How do you feel? Like the last page finally turned. Then come home, she said softly. I'm waiting. I smiled. On my way. 6 months later, I moved to Tennessee. It wasn't a rash decision. Mara and I talked about it for weeks. She had her clinic there, her family, her life. I had a job that allowed remote work and no real reason to stay behind. So I sold the house I'd shared with Clara, packed what mattered, and drove south with Cooper riding shotgun. We took 2 days to get there, stopping at small motels that allowed dogs. It was the kind of quiet road trip I'd always wanted but never taken. Long stretches of highway, music low, the air smelling like freedom. When we pulled into Mara's family farm, she was waiting on the porch. "Welcome home," she said. 3 simple words. They meant everything. The first months were an adjustment. Tennessee was nothing like the city. Slower, greener, softer around the edges. At first, I missed the noise. Then I realized how peaceful silence could be. I found work with an engineering firm in Nashville, 3 days a week in the office, the rest from home. Our home was a small ranch house about 20 minutes from Mara's clinic. Cooper thought he'd gone to heaven. Acres of land to run, a pond to swim in, other dogs to bark at. He was 7 but acted like a puppy again. One June afternoon, I was fixing the fence when Mara's father walked over, holding 2 beers. "Take a break," he said, handing me one. "Thanks, sir," I said automatically. He gave me a look. "I told you, call me Tom." "Thanks, Tom." We sat on the porch, watching the sun sink behind the trees. The cicadas buzzed in the distance. "You know what I like about you, Ethan?" he said after a while. "What's that?" "You don't try too hard," he said. "You just do what's right and let that be enough. Most guys want to prove something. You don't." I smiled. "I've already learned what happens when you try to prove yourself to the wrong person." Tom nodded. "Yeah, my daughter picked a good one this time." That evening, when Mara and I sat on the porch eating dinner, I told her what her father said. She grinned. "He doesn't say that about anyone. You must have impressed him." "Guess I'm finally winning people over," I said. She laughed. "You already won my mom. You're her new favorite child. What about your brother?" "He lost that title when he forgot her birthday," she said, smirking. We sat quietly after that, watching the fireflies. Then Mara said softly, "There's something I need to tell you." Her tone made me set my plate down. "What's wrong?" "Nothing bad," she said quickly, pulling something from her pocket. "But I went to the doctor today." My heart skipped. "Are you okay?" She smiled, eyes wet with happy tears. "I'm pregnant." For a moment I couldn't speak. The world tilted, then steadied. "Say something," she whispered. "You're pregnant?" 8 weeks, she said. "I know it's soon, and we didn't plan it," and I kissed her, deep and certain. When we pulled apart, she laughed through her tears. "So that's a yes?" "That's an absolutely yes," I said. That night, we didn't sleep much. We talked for hours about names, rooms, the future. Cooper slept at our feet, blissfully unaware his life was about to change too. The next morning, I called my parents. My mom screamed so loud I had to hold the phone away from my ear. 2 weeks later, I proposed. Nothing fancy, just us by the pond where we'd had our first date in Tennessee. She stared at me, smiling through tears. "You sure this isn't just because of the baby?" "I was going to ask you anyway," I said. "The baby just moved up my timeline." "What timeline?" "The rest of my life," I said. She said yes. We got married that September in her parents' backyard. Small ceremony, close friends and family. Lucas was my best man. His wife cried through the entire thing. Clara wasn't there, but she sent a short message that morning. "Congratulations, Ethan. I wish you all the happiness in the world." I replied with one word. "Thank you." Our son was born in February. 7 pounds, healthy, loud. We named him Thomas, after Mara's father. When I held him for the first time, something shifted inside me. It wasn't just love. It was clarity. Everything I'd lost, everything I'd endured, it all led to this exact moment. Mara lay in the hospital bed, exhausted but radiant. "What are you thinking?" she asked. "That 2 years ago I was sleeping in a guest room wondering how my life fell apart," I said. "And now, I have everything I never knew I wanted." Her eyes softened. "You deserve it." A few minutes later, Tom walked in with Cooper, who had somehow convinced the nurses to let him in. He sniffed the baby carefully, then lay down beside the bed, like he understood that protecting this tiny human was now his job. That night, after Mara fell asleep, I stepped out into the hallway to get some air. My phone buzzed. A text from Lucas. "Did you see the news? Evan got sentenced. 7 years. I stared at the screen for a long moment before replying, "Justice. Late, but justice." I slipped my phone back into my pocket and returned to the room. Mara was asleep. Thomas curled against her chest. I sat in the chair by the window, watching the sunrise. 2 years ago, Clara told me, "Do whatever you want." She thought I'd fall apart, waiting for her to come home. Instead, I did exactly what I wanted. I built a life worth living. I found Mara. I found peace. Revenge had never been necessary. The consequences took care of themselves. Evan was behind bars. Clara was healing, and I was right where I was meant to be, holding my family, with a quiet heart and a clear sky outside the window. Cooper lifted his head and looked at me, tail thumping once against the floor. "It's okay, buddy," I whispered. "Everything's exactly where it should be." He sighed, closed his eyes, and went back to sleep. For the first time in years, so did I.